Good evening and welcome to this section of the Fort Wayne Community Schools Board of Trustees. We begin our meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you would please rise and say the pledge with us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll begin with roll call to my far right.
Good evening. I'm Glenna Yale from the 2nd District.
Tom Smith from the 3rd District.
Maria Norman, Member at Large.
Ann Duff, Member at Large.
I'm Steve Corona from the 5th District, and also present with us are Dr. Robinson and Janet Doherty to my far left. Jordan Lebemoff is not here. Don't know if he's going to join us, but he may do so in a couple of minutes. We begin this evening with our consent agenda, and there are 3 items on the agenda: the approval of minutes from our meeting from February 11th, vouchers and payroll, and these are for the periods ending February 25th, and payroll for the period, those were vouchers, and then the payroll for the period ending February 1st, and then third is the personnel report. Is there a motion on these items?
I move approval.
Second.
On all 3 items?
Yes.
Is there any questions, comments from the boards on the consent agenda? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We move to new business, and please note that Jordan Lebemoff has joined us. Good evening, sir.
Hello.
First item under new business is the appointment of a deputy treasurer. And let me read the recommendation to you. It's recommended that Elizabeth Reidendiger be appointed as a deputy treasurer for calendar year 2019, and that the bond for this position be set at $50,000. Earlier this year, we approved the appointment of Sherry Neidlinger as treasurer and Stephen Pittenger as deputy treasurer. 2 deputy treasurers are normally appointed in January, but the 2nd deputy position was vacant at that time. Is there a motion and second to accept this recommendation?
I move we accept this recommendation.
Second.
Moved. Second?
Second.
Second by Tom. Motion by Glenna. Any questions on this? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. It's recommended that the board approve the application for and acceptance of a high ability competitive grant for this year from the Indiana Department of Education. It's in the amount of $24,000, and this is the first time we've applied for this competitive grant. Motion and second on this item.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Smith.
Second.
Second by Jordan. Some background information on this. The state provides opportunities for competitive funds for districts to address the learning needs of high-ability students. We are planning to use the money from this competitive grant, if we're awarded it, in 3 ways: to provide high-ability English language arts lessons and units to middle school teachers. Secondly, to provide books for students that align to the high-ability English language arts lessons and units. And finally, to provide professional learning opportunities around the high-ability English language arts lessons and units to middle school teachers. So those are the ways that we would like to spend this money if we get it. And any questions from the board? Amelia Flagger is here if we have questions.
Amelia, with more specificity, what are we intending to use the grant money for?
The $24,000 goes toward the copying as well as providing the resources around the English language arts units that were developed by the Department of Education, Indiana Department of Education. So they've been vetted and are specifically rigorous and are high interest for those students that are high ability.
If we get the money, are we changing the curriculum for our high ability students?
No, we are not. This is something that is a resource that we would be able to add to.
Any other questions for Amelia? Thank you. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. It's recommended the board approve the application for and acceptance of an NEA Foundation STEM Initiative grant for this year. It's in the amount of $20,000. Is there a motion and second on this item?
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. This grant is going to provide money to improve student access to STEM learning by helping educators and community partners in high-need districts implement programs that allow for experiential learning. And board members have additional background information on this grant, $20,000. Rachel Dickerhoof is here. Do we have an obligation, since she's here, to ask her a question? She can say that,
FWA.
does she get
Leadership is here,
something
too.
extra for every question asked, Dr. Robinson?
Not really, but I think you can put FWA on the spot too, because they are part of bringing this grant to us, so. I just
Have we
thought you
applied
looked back.
before?
You have to come to the mic, Julie. And Rachel, why don't you both stand up together?
Sure.
This is a new grant. We have not applied for this
Yeah.
before.
And Julie brought it to us. Yeah.
And I believe that this is just the start. There is a potential for a lot more money to come our way. If I think there will be 2 to 5 across the nation. Not very many were asked to participate in it.
Great, thank you. Thank you. Any other questions?
Ask them something.
If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks for being here, folks. It's recommended that certain checks be removed from the record of outstanding warrants, and you have a listing of those. Is there a motion and second on these items?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. State code says all checks drawn on public funds of a political subdivision of the state that are outstanding and unpaid for a period of 2 or more years as of the last day of December of each year are considered void. We've made several attempts to notify the people and vendors who have now cashed these checks valued at $10 or more, and we've had no response. Probably underneath that car seat, which is where a lot of stuff ends up. I will tell you that we've got about 15 uncashed checks. The biggest is $704, and the next one is $200, and then the rest are pretty small. They total $1,232.46. So we will cancel these, provided the board approves this motion tonight. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And I assume that if these people should happen to come out of whatever closet they're now in, they can be reimbursed for this
We'll
amount?
generate a new check.
All right,
Yep.
cut them a new check.
Yep.
Great. Next item, it's recommended the board declare an emergency for the following project and allocate funds from our operations fund emergency account, which is identified in the capital projects plan. The expenses incurred total $43,751.90. Is there a motion and second on this item?
Move that we accept.
Moved by Glenna, seconded by Jordan. As you might expect, this was from the storm from last month. Emergency repairs and services were required at 17 buildings to remediate damages caused by all of that crazy weather we had when we were in the double digits below zero. Contractors were hired to help us and our Sodexo crews in our buildings to expedite these repairs as quickly as possible, and that is what is before us. Darren, what was the most unusual or troublesome of these repairs that we encountered?
Most troublesome was unfortunately a fire suppression sprinkler head that broke and had a flood.
And that was across the street at the
Correct.
Faith Center,
Correct.
and it's all taken care of now?
Yes, everything except for one little item I got to finish up.
Okay.
Is that something that the contractor who put them in is going to help us with covering the cost of the repairs?
No, because it's normal. That's some of the risk you have with the fire sprinkler. It was a exposed head. It's just in a small area, it got very cold. So we've had some internal controls we're doing to mitigate that in the future, which actually we had in many of our buildings. This one fell through the cracks, but it's not something that they're on the hook for.
Okay, just thought I'd check. Could always hope.
Darren Hess, Director of Facilities, thank you for those responses on that. Any other questions? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, we move to two construction contracts, and these are going to be at multiple school buildings. The recommendation is to approve these items for flooring replacements. Strom Building Solutions is going to do some work for 14 buildings. Their low bid or bid that we're considering this evening is for $193,669, and then to Schenkel Construction, a contract of $548,410, and this is labeled General Building Systems for 11 of our buildings. So there you have it. Is there a motion second on these items?
Move to approve.
Moved by
Second.
Tom, seconded by Maria. A little detail about what they're proposing to do or what we're asking them to do. The projects include flooring replacements and general building system replacements. Kelty Tappy Design was the architect on these projects. The projects are funded from a combination of the Operations Fund and the 2016 School Building Basic Renewal / Restoration and Safety Project. That's bond money. And you've got additional information there. We're being told that this work will be done by this summer, July 25th of this year. And Darren Hess, again, is here if you've got some questions on these projects. I hear none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Here's another one, and this is for roofing. It's recommended the board approve the following construction contract with Fort Wayne Roofing and Sheet Metal, and the amount is $902,500. A motion and second on this item.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All the replacement work is in our plan for roof replacement, which provides for the replacement of all roof segments over a 25-year period. Martin Riley designed the projects as required by state law. Projects, again, are funded from a combination of the Operations Fund and our 2012 School Building Bond Fund. And again, this work looks like it's going to start immediately and be done by, again, this summer, July 25th of this year. Questions? Darren here is present to answer that.
Darren, I do have a question. I see that one of the line items was not accepted. Will that then move to the top of the list when we start roofing projects again?
Yeah, it's top of the list for 2020.
Okay. And obviously that wasn't accepted because then it takes us over our budget, what we had budgeted for.
That is correct.
Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. More construction work. It's recommended the board approve the following construction contract for site and traffic improvements, again, at various school buildings. And this recommendation is that we award a contract to API Construction Corporation, total contract $729,000, $840. Motion and second.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. These projects are going to include a number of asphalt repair and resurfacing projects, drainage improvement, concrete pavement and walk replacements at several buildings. Project also includes the replacement of the tennis courts at Northrop High School. MSKTD and Associates is the architect on this work. And again, we're drawing on funds from our operations fund and our bond projects from 2012 and 2016. Projected end date or completion date for the work is targeted for August 9th, so a little time before the beginning of school. $729,840 to API Construction Corp. Questions for Darren?
Darren, how much money do we have left over in the 2012 school bond project?
After tonight's approval is very little.
Okay.
We still have maybe like 50,000. We've got them targeted for some acoustic improvements at a couple of the schools for the band rooms that we didn't originally were able to fund. So
Okay.
it's almost drawn down.
Okay, thank you.
One of the alternate bid items we did accept here, I see, is for improving the drainage at the baseball field at Wayne High School. So I'm sure that'll please the generals if that field has been just a little soggy. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Another construction program, and this is, it's recommended that the board approve the following progressive design build services for the work at Lakeside Middle School's kitchen and cafeteria renovation project. And I'm looking, oh, okay, wow. Phase 1, progressive design build services, $46,500 to Performance Services, Inc. Okay, motion and second on this item?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Performance Services provided the best value score as defined by law. The first phase allows the school corporation to collaborate with the design build team to optimize the design scope, quality schedule, and budget to best meet the needs of the project, and is culminated in a formal report that then defines the project and documents all final negotiations and total contract price. And there was a wide disparity in the quotes we got. Other quote was for $254,000, and this one was $46,000. So
That's a saving.
either we got a, well,
A deal.
somebody wasn't reading the same stuff at these two companies, that's all I'll say. Darren, is this the first time we've done design build with any of our work?
No, we delivered the Harris and Bloomingdale renovation that way, 2014, I believe. And just to comment on the difference between the 46 and the 250 or whatever it was, that amount is deducted from the final contract.
Okay.
So it's the anticipation from one team versus another team, how much time they have before they do the formal report. It's not real defined in the law about what that report, how far it goes. So, for example, the other team, they were including a lot of rivet design and scanning the building and doing a lot more detailed drawings,
Which you didn't need?
which we don't need at that point. So that's kind of the difference, but both of them, depending on which one we selected, would come off the final price.
Okay.
This is just the phase part of phase 1.
We've done work with Performance Services in the past?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
And Darren, just to remind us all, can you explain the difference between design build and what's the other option, design bid build?
Yeah, the other main procurement method for Public Works is to use, you bid the project as designed by an architect or an engineer, put it out to the market, they contractors have an opportunity to bid it, and then you select that contractor to build it. In a design build, the builder and the architect are one entity, and they work within a budget to provide essentially the same thing. It's just a different delivery method. It allows you a little more flexibility on design options. If you think about it, if you hire an architect to do your house, they're going to give you one set of plans. They may give you one or two options, but pretty much you're set down the road for one set of plans. And design build, it gives you an opportunity to have maybe 2, 3 fresh looks at it, and hopefully one person may have a little better ingenuity on what you're looking for. So it gives you a little more flexibility sometimes on the design.
And I take it both entities have walked through the property and inspected the property and have a good understanding of what we need?
Yes, they've both been in the crawl space underneath, crawling around, so yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Darren. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. It's recommended that we award to the lowest responsible and responsive bidder for the purchase of infrastructure access points. And the recommendation is that we award this contract to Presidio Network Solutions Group out of Carmel, Indiana. The amount is $687,387.75. Motion and second on this item, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. This purchase for 1,307 infrastructure access points will replace old access points that will be reaching their end of life at 27 of our properties. We're eligible for a discount, so we're only going to be responsible, if I read this right, for 15% of the purchase cost for some of this. And we may have Jack Bird tell us a little bit about this. We had 4 bidders. Presidio did not have the lowest priced bid, but the brand of access points offered by another company were not compatible with our existing network infrastructure. And a couple of others bidding did not follow specified bid submittal procedures, which then eliminated their bids from consideration. So the recommendation tonight is to award the contract to Presidio, $687,387.75. So Jack, can you explain, I'm trying to read this again, about the discount for, is that a portion of some of the material we're buying?
Yes, we participate in the federal government's E-rate program. So there are certain services and items that we receive discounts on. In this particular case with the access points, most of the material that we are purchasing, we only pay 15% of the original purchase cost.
So there's a labor cost involved in this too as well? Is that what I'm reading?
Yes, there's some costs in there that are not eligible for USF. That's the name of the fund. So we can't pay those.
This terminology, infrastructure access points, if we were doing this work in our house, would this be our Wi-Fi system, or is this something entirely different?
Very similar.
Okay. Any other questions? Jack Bird, our Director of Technology, thank you. If there are no more questions, all those in favor of the recommendation, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're getting down. I think this is the last item before we hear from board members and the public. And this is a recommendation to approve the purchase of 164 Lenovo E580 and 486 Lenovo ThinkPad computers. And this is from ProSys of Indianapolis for $538,705.30. Okay. Motion and second on this item.
So moved.
Moved and seconded.
Second.
The purchase of these laptops represents the annual staff device purchase of the 5-year technology plan that ensures our teachers, building administrators, and support staff have current technology to support instruction. We were able to secure pricing that was below General Services Administration pricing, and state law does not require public bidding for purchases made at or below this price point, and funding will come from our common school fund. So it's those devices and the cost, again, to process of Indianapolis, $538,705.30. Questions? Jack Bird is here if you have them. If not, all those in favor of the recommendation, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that brings us to the end of our business agenda. Comments from board members. Glenna?
None tonight.
I have nothing, Steve.
Maria?
Last week on Tuesday, Steve and I had the opportunity to travel to the State House and celebrate with the Indiana School Board Association for their 70th anniversary. But then we also got an opportunity to chat with legislators about the state budget and increasing that, or attempting to discuss with them an increase for our school corporations around the state to be able to increase teacher pay. And then we also talked about the accountability bill that has been going around, that school districts would be required to track students after graduation. And so school board members around the state voiced concerns in how would we do this, and would this be an unfunded mandate, or how would they expect us to keep track of students post-graduation. So concerns were voiced, and I believe there were 60 school board representatives from around the state, and we had 30 representatives signed up for lunch, and then we made our way over to the State House. So overall, a productive day.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Boy Scout Troop 3419. They invited me to their meeting last week. As part of their A badge requirement, I guess, they needed to speak with an elected official, so they chose me. So I got to talk to them about how you become a school board member and what we do, and I encourage them to either come to our meeting or watch it on TV or on the live stream. So just wanted to acknowledge them and thank them for inviting me.
No comments this evening.
Last Tuesday, when we were in Indianapolis, we had the opportunity to be invited on the floor of the House by Representative Bob Morris. There was a resolution being read recognizing the 70th anniversary of the Indiana School Boards Association. So we saw Bob in the hallway, and he invited us in and sat down, and it was a privilege. And we also saw a couple of our other reps, Phil Giaquina and Marlon Carball, and so it was a good visit, very good visit. And it's important. I think the point that was stressed at our meeting, Indiana School Board Association meetings, you're always civil and courteous. You may not always agree, but you carry on a conversation with them, and you try to find those points that you do agree on. So it was good from that perspective, and hoping that everybody understands, and I think that's part of it, is sharing information. Sometimes they may get a view that may not be the full view of what the issue is before them. And, one of the issues that we think needs some further communication and dialogue, especially for members of the General Assembly that are fairly new, is the whole issue of teacher pay. And I know there's concern that teacher pay is down, and it is, but it's because of actions they took. And I think they don't remember that, but in 2011, they essentially froze teacher pay in this state. We were prevented from moving our teachers up on our pay system. At the same time, we had senior teachers that were at the high end of the pay scale leaving, retiring, enjoying retirement, and we were hiring younger teachers at the entry-level rate. Well, what Kathy Friend, our Director of Finance, has indicated is that the average teacher pay in this district is about $2,000 less than it was 8 years ago. But it was for very understandable reasons. He had all of these experienced teachers up here, getting paid up here. In the meantime, we've had a number of teachers, younger, hired at the entry-level rate, and our inability to have them move up the pay grade. So there is a reason. So we've been trying to remind and educate the legislators that there is a reason why people don't want to enter this profession. It's not because they don't love children. It's because that there are other opportunities today in which they can make more money. In fact, Kim Woodward, the president of the Indiana School Boards Association, is the HR director for a restaurant chain in Indianapolis. And she said, I pay my servers more than I pay my teachers in my home district. I pay my servers more than I pay my teachers in my home district. And that is a statement. And that's a very sad statement. So it's important for us to be at the State House. It's important for us to keep communication and dialogue open and to help move that information and their way to our legislators to help them understand the current situation that we face. So I think it's always productive for us to be there, get a little FaceTime in with them, because it's not the only time we're communicating. Dr. Robinson is always talking to them on the phone or in person when our legislators are back home. Kathy Friend has a fabulous relationship and trust and well-respected by our legislators when a numbers question comes their way. So it's awfully important that we maintain that communication with legislators 365 days of the year. So our next meeting will be our regular meeting will be on Monday, March 11th at 6 p.m. in this building. Is there a motion and second for adjournment?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are going to move to the portion of hearing from you.